You've seen it, right? That huge, terrifying number that's always on the news, ticking up, up, up every single second. Well, today we're going to dive into that. Because what if I told you that number isn't the one that signals a real immediate crisis? Yep, I'm talking about the national debt. Trillions upon trillions of dollars. It's this mind-boggling figure that shows how much money the US government owes in total. And it's the number everyone loves to point at as a sign that the sky is falling. But hold on a second. Is that really the most critical number to watch day to day? I mean, does that giant long-term IOU tell you if the government can actually pay its soldiers or send out Social Security checks tomorrow? The answer is not really. So what if we've all been looking at the wrong thing? Instead of fixating on the country's giant mortgage, what if we just peeked inside its checking account? Because that's where you find the real story of its financial health right now. So let's do exactly that. It's time to pull back the curtain on what you could call America's secret bank account. This is the number that the pros, the people really in the know, are watching. It's called the Treasury General Account, or the TGA for short. And you're probably expecting some crazy number in the tens of trillions, right? Nope. On a typical day, it's sitting at around $900 billion. Now, that's still a ton of money for sure, but compared to the national debt, it's on a completely different planet. This is the government's actual spendable cash. So what exactly is this thing? Well, think of the TGA as the US government's main operational checking account. It's that simple. All the money sits in this one account at the Federal Reserve. As one analyst put it, and I think this says it all, this is the account that truly keeps the lights on. Every single payment the government makes, from a soldier's salary to a Social Security check, it all flows out of this one place. All right, so how does this giant national checkbook actually work? You might be surprised. It's a pretty straightforward process. Just money in and money out. Okay, so check this out. Step 1, money comes in. This is mostly from our taxes and from the government selling bonds. Step 2, all that cash gets funneled into this one single account, the TGA. And then step 3, the money goes out. The Treasury uses it to pay for absolutely everything. And that's why the checkbook analogy is so perfect. It doesn't matter how good your credit is. If your checking account hits zero, you can't pay your rent, period. Same goes for the US government. If the TGA runs dry, payments just stop. And listen, this isn't just some theory. It's not a what if. We saw this play out for real, and it got scary close during the debt ceiling crisis back in 2023. This was a real-world stress test of the whole system. Just look at how fast things went south. At the beginning of 2023, everything's fine, the account's looking healthy, but then the debt ceiling fight in Congress grinds to a halt. That meant the Treasury couldn't borrow any new cash to top up the account. And by early June, man, the balance just plummeted. We were literally days away from empty. This chart just says it all, doesn't it? The bar on the left, that's a normal, healthy balance. But that tiny little bar on the right, that's where we were in June 2023. We're talking about the biggest economy on the planet scraping the bottom of the barrel. A default wasn't some far-off possibility anymore. It was knocking on the door. Okay, so let's tie this all together. Why does this one number, the TGA, matter so much? Well, because it forces us to look at the immediate, right-now risk, not just a long-term problem. This really lays it out. The national debt, that's like your mortgage. It's a huge, long-term number. But the TGA balance, that's the cash in your checking account today. It's what tells you if you can afford to buy groceries tonight. One is about long-term solvency, yeah, but the other is about immediate liquidity. And liquidity is what keeps the lights on. So here's the bottom line, the big takeaway. It's the TGA, not the massive national debt. That's the real live-action indicator of a looming crisis. It tells you, in no uncertain terms, if the government can pay its bills tomorrow. When you see that number getting dangerously low, that's when you know a default is a real and present danger. Now, thankfully, a deal was reached in 2023, and the Treasury refilled the account pretty quickly. But it leaves us with this huge, lingering question, right? They dodged a bullet that time, but now you know the secret. You know the number that almost everyone else misses. So what are you going to be watching when the next crisis starts to brew?